I'm here to share some thoughts of the European Commission with you on where we think we should be going in the coming years on data protection. We think we are in a new era since the Treaty of Lisbon entered into force, and very forcefully the European Parliament has confirmed that at the beginning of the year, on the 10th of February, when it made its voice heard on the famous TFTP agreement, where the Parliament clearly said we want more privacy and we want a fairer balance between the right to freedom and liberty and the right to security. Both of them are mentioned in the Charter of Fundamental Rights, but we need to get the balance right. You know that Vice President Reding has always shared this view. On the basis of that, the Parliament managed to convince the other institutions to negotiate a better agreement. Home Affairs Commissioner Malmström skillfully negotiated a new TFTP agreement, and the European Parliament approved it. Subsequently, the Commission also asked the Council for negotiating directives on an agreement on another PNR agreement, which is here in the Parliament in the hands of Sophie, as you all know. And also here, it will be important to get the balance right. And I think also here I see Commission and Parliament working very closely together. All these developments, the agreement on TFTP and the PNR agreement, from the Commission's perspective in our EU-US relations, they represent an advance in trust in transatlantic relations. I think all EU institutions have made clear that the respect of fundamental rights is a key condition for strengthening cooperation between the EU and the US. This is why the European Parliament has rightly called for, since some time already, also to put all our agreements at European and American level under the umbrella of a comprehensive data protection agreement. And I'm optimistic that this week and next week we'll see a lot of progress also on this front, thereby satisfying the request from the European Parliament. The purpose of that is that in the future, when we discuss again agreements with the United States or other partners, that we have a firm and stable, sound legal footing on the basis of the fundamental right of privacy, so that other agreements can work without having to reopen this fundamental question on which there has to be, in a logical way, clarity first before we go into more stronger police and other cooperation. The Commission has focused in the last months mostly on updating the internal house of the European Union in the field of data protection, because we have a data protection directive, as you all know, from 1995, and this is under review. On the 4th of November, the Commission adopted a communication, a strategic communication, calling for a comprehensive approach on personal data protection in the European Union. I'm sure you've all read it, therefore I don't need to repeat every detail of it, but just the main elements. The objectives of the Commission are, first, to strengthen the rights of data subjects in the European Union, to make them clearer, more tangible. Secondly, to enhance the single market dimension of data protection. Third, to address the global dimension of data protection. Fourth, to include in our reflection something that is not included so far in the 1995 Data Protection Directive, the rules on police and judicial cooperation in criminal matters, what was under the former third pillar. In a comprehensive reflection on data protection, this must be addressed. Yesterday, Vice President Reding said here in Brussels at a data protection conference more details about the first three goals. I want to address today, also because I know this is the work of Sophie mostly, to address the fourth part. How can we include in our reflection on data protection the issues falling under the former third pillar of the European Union? This is where Article 6 of the Charter needs to be brought in the right balance. I recall Article 6 of the Charter of Fundamental Rights talks about the right of every person to liberty and to security. We need to have the right balance and perhaps to redress the balance a little bit. The EU Charter of Fundamental Rights lays down basic principles for the protection of personal data for everyone in Europe in Article 7. This includes the rights of people whose data may be required by law enforcement authorities in a whole variety of circumstances. Bank transfers, buying an airline ticket, checking in and passing security checks at the airports, possibly by means of a body scanner. You're certainly following the debate in the United States in these days on that. Surfing the internet or sending emails or making phone calls. In the vast majority of these daily life situations, we are talking about collecting huge amount of data of personal information on innocent and law-abiding citizens. That's something what we should never forget. This collection of data is usually carried out even by private companies for business purposes. It may then also be used by public authorities for the purpose of investigating terrorism and serious crime, or for law enforcement in general. The Lisbon Treaty has introduced a very important new legal basis for the protection of personal data in the European Union, the famous Article 16 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union. This new legal basis is new as it covers all activities within the scope of Union law.